both sides of a wooden or metal frame, likely about 25 centimeters 10 inches in diameter. In view of its festive use, some models may have headpieces of metal, perhaps jingles, attached to the sides and could have been played like a modern tambourine. Other types probably had more the appearance and use of a tom-tom, being beaten with both hands. Although the tambourine is not mentioned in connection with temple worship, it was used by both men and women in praising Jehovah and on other joyful occasions such as feasts and weddings. 1 Sa 10. 5. 2 Sa 6. 5. PS 150. 4. Issa 5. 12 women especially would accompany themselves with tambourines in singing and dancing. X 15. 20. JG 11. 34. 1 Sa 18. 6. The tambourine is also associated with the prospective gladness of Israel when the time of her restoration would arrive. J 31. 4. Tammuz, O Tammuz. A deity over whom apostate Hebrew women in Jerusalem were seen weeping in the 6th year of the prophet Ezekiel's exile 612 BCE. As 8. 1, 3, 14. In Sumerian texts, Tammuz is called Dumuzi and is identified as the consort or lover of the fertility goddess Inanna by Babylonian Ishtar. It has been suggested that Tammuz was originally a king who was deified after his death. Sumerian texts believed to date from the 18th century BCE show that the kings of Sumer were identified with Dumuzi. Regarding the identification of Tammuz, D. Wolkstein and S. N. Kramer, tamarisk trees are able to live in dry areas like Beersheba, where Abraham planted one, Tapestry 1065 marked. There were quite a number of dying gods in ancient Sumer, but the best known is Dumuzi, the biblical Tammuz, whom the women of Jerusalem were still mourning in the days of the prophet Ezekiel. Originally, the god Dumuzi was a mortal Sumerian ruler, whose life and death had made a profound impression on the Sumerian thinkers and mythographers. Inanna, Queen of Heaven and Earth, New York, 1983, p. 124. In addition, O. Argoni wrote, Dumuzi was originally a man, a king of Erech. The humanity of Dumuzi is, moreover, confirmed by the mythological passage in which he says to Inanna, I will lead you to the house of my God. This is not the way in which a god would speak. Journal of Semitic Studies, Volume 7, 1962, pages 150-152. Tammuz, 2 Tammuz. The post-exilic name given to the 4th Jewish lunar month of the sacred calendar, but the 10th of the secular calendar. Thus, in the Targum of Jonathan the expression the 10th month of Genesis 8. 5 is rendered the month Tammuz. Tammuz was the name of a Babylonian deity. As 8. 14. The Bible record does not apply this name to the 4th month, but merely refers to the month by its numerical order. As 1. 1. The name does appear, however, in the Jewish Mishnah Taranot 4. 6 and other post-exilic works. The use of the pagan name Tammuz as applying to the 4th month, as well as the use of the other post-exilic names, may have been only a matter of convenience among the Jews. It should be remembered that they were then a subjugated people, obliged to deal with and report to the foreign powers dominating them, and in view of this it is no strange thing if they utilized the names of the months employed by these foreign powers. The Gregorian calendar used today has months named after the gods Janus and Mars, and the goddess Juno, as well as for Julius and Augustus Caesar, yet it continues to be used by Christians who are subject to the superior authorities. Row 13. 1. This month, Tammuz, corresponded to part of June and part of July and, therefore, came in the growing heat of summer. By now the grapevines were beginning to yield their first ripe fruit. New 13. 20. It was on the 9th day of this 4th month Tammuz that Nebuchadnezzar breached the walls of Jerusalem in 607 BCE after an 18-month siege. 2 Chi 25. 3, 4. J 39. 2. 52. 6, 7. During the 70 years of exile that followed, the Jews customarily fasted on the 9th day of the 4th month in memory of this blow against Jerusalem. Zakat. 19. However, following the second destruction of Jerusalem, in the year 70 CE the fast was observed on the 17th day of the 4th month, the day the walls of the temple were breached by Roman General Titus. There were no festivals appointed by Jehovah for this month. Den Humeth Tan Middle. Humeth from a root meaning comfort. The Nutafatite father of Sharia, a military leader of the Jews left in Jerusalem after the deportation to Babylon. 2 Kai 25. 23. Ja 40. 8. Tanner. A person skilled in the tanning profession, the craft of converting animal hides into leather that can then be used to make articles of various kinds. 2 Kai 1. 8. Mount 3. 4. Doubtless the tanning operation was performed in the past as it has been recently in the Middle East. In only a two-room tannery, housing tools and vats for preparing the hides. The basic process of preparing leather involved 1. Loosening the hair, usually with a lime solution. 2. Removing the hair, bits of flesh, and fat adhering to the hide. And 3. Tanning the hide with a liquor made from such things as the bark of sumac or of oak, or from other kinds of plants. Peter spent quite a few days in Joppa with a certain Simon, a tanner, whose house was by the sea. Act 9. 43. 10. 32. Taphath Tarfath, a daughter of King Solomon and wife of one of his 12 deputies. 1 Kai 4. 7, 11. Tapah Tapu Middle. Our apple tree. 1. One of Hebron's 4 sons and a descendant O Textoi Acute Miritra Longo, Ta 1066 refers to the Ephraimite city. Ephraimite Tapah is identified with Tel Sheikh Abuzaraid Tel Abuzaraid, about 13 km 8 mi SSW of Shechem and just below the town of Yashuf. Ta. See Bitumen. Taralatara Middle. La. A Benjamite city, the location of which is today unknown. It is listed, however, with other cities situated in the mountainous region and of Jerusalem. Jos 18. 25-28. Tereatar Middle. Rea. The descendant of King Saul through Jonathan. Also called Taria. 1 Ch 8. 33-35. 9. 39-41. Tarshish from a root meaning shatter. 1. One of Javan's 4 sons born after the flood. Ge 10. 4. 1 Ch 1. 7. He is included among the 70 family heads from whom the nations were spread about in the earth. Ge 10. 32. As in the case of Javan's other sons, the name Tarshish came to apply to a people and a region. 2. A descendant of Benjamin and son of Bilhain. 1 Ch 7. 6, 10. 3. One of 7 princely counselors of King Ahasuerus who considered the case of rebellious Queen Vashti. As 1. 12-15. 4. A region initially populated by offspring of Tarshish, a son of Javan and grandson of Japheth. There are some indications of the direction in which the descendants of Tarshish migrated during the centuries. 21. Also that Jehoshaphat's ships were designed to go to Tarshish and, when wrecked, did not retain strength to go to Tarshish. 2 Ch 20. 36, 37. This would indicate that Ophir was not the only port of call of the Israelite ships of Tarshish, but that they also navigated Mediterranean waters. This, of course, poses a problem, since the launching site of at least some of these vessels is shown to have been Ezion-Geber on the Gulf of Aqaba. 1 Kai 9. 26. For the ships to reach the Mediterranean Sea, they would either have to traverse a canal from the Red Sea to the Nile River and then into the Mediterranean, or else circumnavigate the continent of Africa. While it is by no means possible to determine now the details of navigational routes including canals available or employed in Solomon's and in Jehoshaphat's time, there is likewise no need to view the record of their maritime projects as unfeasible. In prophecy, Tarshish appears to have been a major market for the merchant city of Tyre, perhaps her source of greatest riches during part of her history. From ancient times Spain has had mines working the rich deposits of silver, iron, tin, and other metals found there. Compare J 10. 9. As 27. 3, 12. Thus Isaiah's prophetic pronouncement of Tyre's overthrow depicts the ships of Tarshish as howling upon reaching Kittime Cyprus, perhaps their last port of call on the eastern run, and receiving the news that the wealthy port of Tyre has been despoiled. Issa 23. 1, 10, 14. Other prophecies foretell God sending some of his people to Tarshish, there to proclaim his glory. Issa 66. 19, and of ships of Tarshish bringing Zion's sons from far away. Issa 60. 9. The kings of Tarshish and of the islands are to pay tribute to the one Jehovah designates as king. PS 72. 10. On the other hand, at Ezekiel 38. 13. The merchants of Tarshish are represented along with other trading peoples as expressing selfish interest in Gog of Magog's proposed plunder of Jehovah's gathered ones.